Hello, parents and guardians. My name is Joseph All, and I am very excited to be your child's math teacher in Algebra 2 Honors this year. I know this is not a traditional way that we would typically have open house, but I'm glad that I have the opportunity to, through this video, share some of the things that they'll be working on this year and some of my guidelines and expectations for them. So I'm actually going to present my screen right now so that you can see a quick slideshow. As I'm going through the slideshow, of course, hit pause along the way if I am going too quickly through a slide and you want to take the time to go back and review the information there. And if you have any questions for me following the presentation, definitely reach out to me and let me know, and I'd be happy to get back to you. So just a little bit quickly about me. This is my 15th year teaching in Fairport, and I got married on Pi Day to another math teacher who's standing right here in the photo. She also has taught in Fairport for the past 15 years, 13 years at the high school, and now she currently is working as a STEAM instructional coach for our district. We have 3 kids together. Elodie, who's in the middle here, is 6 years old and a first grader at JA and having a great start to her year. And then we have twins, Mason and Avery, who are 3 years old, keeping us very busy. So students who have successfully completed geometry honors will find success in Algebra 2 honors in the following topics. So a lot of these topics are topics that are built upon from Algebra 1. And of course, we go much further in depth on these topics and explore new topics this year that they've never seen. So students, when I showed this to them on day 1, seem to have a good sense of, yeah, those look familiar to me. But of course, there were some things here that they've never seen before, and they're hopefully excited to learn about this school year. As far as course materials are concerned, these are things that students typically have already been bringing with them. One really important note here is that students are required to have a graphing calculator for this course. So if your child had one and somehow misplaced it, please have them let me know, and I can sign one out to them like I would sign out a textbook for a school year. But otherwise, it is a required course material both for in-class days and certainly on their remote days as well. Headphones, earbuds, and a Wi-Fi enabled device are really helpful when they're in class and probably at home as well. And I'll describe more why that's the case for our course in just a moment. In the math department, we have a grading policy such that 10% of their grade is calculated from their homework completion, and the other 90% are from tests, quizzes, and projects. This course will have a midterm exam in January, and then says a final exam in June, but more specifically than just calling it a final exam, there is a Regents exam in Algebra 2, and it is their final Regents exam that is offered by New York State in mathematics. So Algebra 1 was the first Regents exam that they took. Geometry, they all got a free pass on last year, which nobody's complaining about, I don't think. But then this year, they will have a Regents exam in Algebra 2 in June. As far as hybrid learning expectations are concerned, these are things that I shared with your students on the first few days of class. The primary format I'll be using this year is called a flipped classroom, also known as an asynchronous model. And I know these are terms that you've been hearing a lot lately as far as asynchronous versus synchronous learning. And asynchronous learning essentially means that students will be doing the notes at home. So I'll be providing video lessons for them such that they will take notes while watching the video. And on average, these videos might be 20 to 25 minutes each night, which might be what a typical night of homework used to consist of for math anyway. So the reason why this gets flipped, and we call it a flipped classroom, is that when they come back to class, they can ask me questions that, from the prior night, anything that they need to clarify. And once we're done with that question and answer period and going over a few practice questions, the students will work on the homework in class. And that homework is what they'll submit to me as evidence that they've watched the video and they have a solid understanding of the content. Homework assignments will be due by midnight of the day it's assigned. So if a student doesn't finish that homework assignment in class, they should have plenty of time to finish up that quickly at home. But keep in mind that they would also be required to watch another video for their homework that night. So I'll encourage students to work hard while they're in class, get that homework done or as close to done as they can. And then this way they can concentrate on watching the next video for homework. If you have a virtual student this year, they are required to attend with the Monday, Thursday cohort, and they've all done a wonderful job with that so far, so I appreciate that. On remote days, my expectation for students is that they'll log into the Google Meet link provided in their Google Classroom. This will give them an opportunity to hear what happened as far as a recap from the last lesson, that video from the night before. They can ask some clarifying questions if they have them for me, even remotely from home. And then what I've allowed them to do is while students in class start that homework assignment like I described earlier, the students who are remote can either stay on the Google Meet and ask questions if they have them, or if they don't think they'll have any questions at that point, I'll allow them to log off and do work on their own. If your child does ever have a conflict with attending on one of their remote days, just let me know in advance, and I'd be happy to get them any materials that I plan on going over that day and give them a quick recap. On Wednesdays, we have a new schedule this year, and Wednesdays will be our all virtual day. We just had our first Wednesday, and I would say it was very successful. Class periods are 20 minutes, but students are required to attend with their video on so that I can take attendance on those days. And depending on where we are in the unit, we might actually go ahead because our course, we do have a fair amount of content to cover, so we may have to use Wednesdays, those full 20 minutes, to get through the next lesson. Or if it's a natural stopping place in our unit of study, we may use that day to recap and review materials. Math assistance and extra help are available, and the nice thing about our schedule at the high school is math assistance is available all 9 periods a day, except on our Wednesday schedule. So students can join virtually for math assistance, and they actually must do that even if they're in person. They have to join virtually, and I'll show you where they'll access that Google Meet link in our Google Classroom. I personally am available in math assistance second period, so if they're remote from home on any given day and second period, they're not tuning in live to a class, they could join me virtually in second period math assistance, which is a great option for them. Extra help can be provided in person if you happen to be in school that day, but certainly virtual extra help is available as well. And what I'll do right now is I'll transition over to showing you what their Google Classroom looks like from their perspective and where they're accessing some of this information, including the videos I've been posting for them to watch while taking notes. So if I quickly navigate here over to what the Algebra 2 Honors Google Classroom page will look like for them. I may not have your child's first period. I also teach this 9th period, but their Google Classroom 9th period will look identical. So this link at the very top in the banner section here has the link that they'll join on their remote days. And again, they've done a fantastic job with this so far. If you scroll down on the initial homepage, which is called the stream, you'll see a link to math assistance that they can join on their virtual days. And you'll also see this link right here for extra help. The only thing I'll ask students is that if they are going to attend extra help virtually, they just let me know in advance so that I know that they'll be waiting there for me. And then where students get most of their information is from the classwork section. So when they go into classwork, I'll be posting agendas that cover about 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So students can access that information about when homeworks and tests and quizzes are coming up. You'll see if I scroll down a little bit further, we're actually now completed algebra review for Unit 1. So you can see there's a unit packet here where students can, if they forgot their packet that was handed to them in class, they can print out some stuff there. But then everything that's titled Day 1 or Day 2 is a video. So here was Day 1 factoring a view, a 10-minute video. Day 2's video on polynomials was 15 minutes. So students will be watching those videos, taking those notes, and then coming here and submitting homeworks as you see them coming up in their Google Classroom here. Like I was mentioning earlier, students really have done a fantastic job navigating through all this. And I know that it's tough because maybe they have teachers that are requiring different things of them this year. But if your child has any questions for me ever, please encourage them to connect with me and reach out in case they're struggling. And certainly if you have any questions for me, here's my email address. It's jahl, A-H-L, @fairport.org. So if you have any questions about today's presentation or otherwise, I definitely encourage you to reach out and let me know. So thank you so much for tuning in for our non-traditional open house evening. And like I mentioned, if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good one.